But they weren't, in fact, they weren't even sure the game was going to be played. But the thing that I remember most vividly about that game, and I don't remember the lead player, but there was either a safety and a cornerback. McVay was headed right between them. They had him. He faked one out this way and one out the other way. Right swing and scored. That was the outline of as far as I was concerned.
I'm Bob Mabry. I've been to a lot of football games in my life, but I must say the Lee Brackenridge game was the most exciting game I've ever been to in my life. And I'll tell you a little story. My family had 4 tickets to the game. 50-yard line, first row. My father made a deal with me before the game. He and Mom and myself would go, and we had 1 extra ticket. So he said if I'd find a fan to sell this ticket to, that I could keep the money. So I found this gentleman outside Alamo Stadium, sold the ticket to him. Little did I know that he was the most ardent Brackenridge fan in the city. And here we were on the 50-yard line, front row. Every time Warren McVay would take that ball and run down the field, here you go this fan just running with him, and he'd come back and get my dad's face and just let him have it. And my dad was never so mad at me as he was that game. But at least we were Lee fans. We came out on top. It was just a wonderful experience. I'm glad to be part of it.
It was a game talked about from the Panhandle to the Golden Triangle, from the piney woods to the valley. It didn't take long for everyone to hear about it or watch it on TV. Darrell Royal, the legendary University of Texas football coach, wanted both Bear and McVay, as recruiting one would have been signing the first black star in the Southwest Conference. Coach Royal, the former Oklahoma All-American, certainly realized they were 2 of the best in the nation.
Coach, it's been 39 years since Brackenridge played Lee at Alamo Stadium, and now you were interested in 2 of those players that day, Warren McVay and Linus Bear, and of course Linus came on at the University of Texas, but you didn't get to see the game, but I guess you heard about it and knew why it was such a legendary contest.
Oh, sure. That's one of the high school game in Texas. It'll be talked about from now on. It was kind of like our game with Arkansas in '69. That's the game they take out in college football. But if you're going to pick out a high school football game, none have been talked about like the 55-48 game in San Antonio.
When you heard about the game, could you believe that there were no punts and that one guy would go 95 yards and the other had so much speed? That was almost unheard of in those days.
Well, that kind of a score and that evenly matched, and then the winning score coming in just seconds at the end of the game, it has all the drama and all the excitement. And of course, as I remember, it was a sellout crowd in anticipation of it. I think there were 2 undefeated teams. So and then the way the game was played and the way the 2 guys that were billed as stars truly were stars in the game. So it had everything that you'd want in a football game.
So when you heard about the game and when your assistant coaches told you about it, did you say, well, I want that Bear kid?
No, we knew that about them. We knew about Warren McVay and Linus. We knew about them early in the year. Knew about them when they were coming up as seniors. As I recall, we couldn't contact them until after football season. I've forgotten what the rules were back then when we were recruiting, but I know that we didn't start as early contact as they do now.
Coach, what do you remember about the Brackenridge game?
I remember that it was much talked about. We had, and I've forgotten who the assistant coach was that was there covering the game, whoever recruited that area, and he came back saying he'd just seen the doggonedest football game he'd ever seen. So it's classic.
It has been my privilege over the years to broadcast some tremendous high school games on the Texas gridiron. I remember years ago in Dallas when W.W. Samuel played Sunset High School and I was doing the play-by-play, and a young man by the name of Jerry Rome was at quarterback for Sunset. Years later in Houston at Jefferson Stadium, the last game of segregation when Wheatley played Yates. And then in San Antonio, the first triple overtime game when a young man by the name of Anthony Priest Holmes was the star for the Marshall Rams. But it doesn't make any difference if you're describing a game involving Class 5A teams or a clash between two small schools. High school football features a magnetism, a camaraderie, a charisma that you won't find in any other sport. The Robert E. Lee Brackenridge game of 1963 will be forever inscribed onto the sports pages of Texas football history. My only regret, I wasn't there on that cold November night to describe all the excitement, electricity, and energy that permeated through Alamo Stadium. We hope we've given you a taste of what it was like and an opportunity to meet a few of the players involved. From wondrous Warren McVeigh to lithesome Linus, there were other outstanding players on those teams, and it's impressive how that one playoff contest became such an important episode in mapping young lives. It also helped to meld a city together and to create even better racial relations in an already diverse city. The game, November 29th, 1963. As we start the second half, Lee is going to kick onside one more time. Going to be recovered by the Eagles at the Brack 37-yard line. Brack shifts into a punt formation. Watch out. The old Statue of Liberty play may be coming up. It's at the Lee 47. The snap to Bear. Here it is. Left side. 50, 45, 40, 35. And he's going to go all the way. McVeigh takes it 47 yards. Touchdown. And the extra point is no good. It's 34 to 25 with the errant PAT. So Brackenridge is going to do the same thing. They kick onside. Doesn't go 10 yards, so Lee takes over at the Brack 47-yard line.
Kemp lines up. Option to the left. Pitches to Linus Bear. He's going to ramble all the way down. 47 yards for the touchdown. He strikes again. We watch the PAT where they've had trouble all night long. The kick is up. It's high. It's good. The score 41 to 25. Lee leading Brackenridge.
Another onside kick. Doesn't go 10 yards, so Brack takes over at the Lee 47-yard line.
McVeigh under center. Hands off to the right-hand side to Elmo Washington. He fumbles the ball at the Lee 5-yard line, and Lee recovers.
It's at the 30. Linus Bear gets the call. He's stopped short by Coffey. Brack will take over at the Lee 30. McVeigh keeps right, gets only a yard, but that's enough. First down at the Lee 20-yard line. McVeigh facing a 7-man front. Decides to keep around left end. Inside, 2 tacklers miss. He goes in 20 yards for the touchdown. Warren McVeigh gets another TD. They've missed a couple of points after, so they're going to go for 2. Into the end zone, touchdown by Boone, and it's now 41 to 33 into the third quarter. Warren McVeigh ended up at the University of Houston, and Coach Bill Yeoman realized the Cougars had signed one of the best backs in the state. Today, Coach Yeoman, Linus, and Warren meet for the first time in Houston to talk about the old times and the game that made history.
Well, what it amounts to, if it's going to be what this has turned out to be, it's going to be in Texas. Because high school football here is like no place else, in the country. And then when you lock 2 kids up with the skills and the ability that Linus and Warren had, you're bound to have some fireworks. Now, a lot of times it doesn't turn out that way, in the actual play. But here, it just gave they were anticipating a legendary game, and they got it.
I know Oklahoma had Leon Cross over there scouting that game, hoping to get one of these guys to you. But who did you have over there scouting for you that night?
Oh, there were a couple, 3 guys that went over, coaches went over. And then the guy, Carol Schultz, was the one that used to recruit that area, and Carol was a great guy. And, I mean, he's a little effervescent, or was, and when he came back and started talking about it, my God, we had to calm him down 2 or 3 times. But he wanted to make sure I understood just how unbelievably miraculous that a couple of those 2 kids performed.
Were you surprised that the Dallas Morning News named it the greatest high school game?
No, not really. I mean, interestingly enough, even though all those points were scored, there were a whole lot of kids trying real hard on defense. It's just a situation where you had a couple of kids, locked up there that you just don't get in high school very often. And Now, you know, it may have had more effect then because there just weren't that many great running backs that, you know, were going to get locked up together.
Even though Linus and Warren were intense rivals on the football field, they have been friends for 40 years, and there are memories they have logged into their sports scrapbooks forever.
What does it feel like to be on that team that was involved in what the Dallas Morning News was called the greatest high school game of the 20th century?
When we were out there playing, it never even dawned on us, you know, but as the game progressed, I knew it was a pretty good game because a lot of scoring was going on. But I never thought about the significance it had, you know, throughout the state or whatever.
Do people still mention it to you?
Yeah, they do, you know, because it was a good football game. A lot of people remember that game. I mean, it was really a good football game.
I understand you guys were so tired at the end of the game that you were just so exhausted you just kind of stood there.
Yeah, because, well, the last play of the game, they pitched the ball back to me and we tried to score, but it was not happening. They knew they was going to give me the ball, so.
It had to be a little bit of a coaching stroke of genius when Coach Foreign said, okay, McVeigh, you're at quarterback.
If I would have played running back, we had no chance. They were too big. They would have overpowered us. We didn't have a chance if I had played running back. And Coach Foreign was right. If I would have played running back, we had no chance. You know, when he ran that kickoff, the guy on that team locked his legs around me and held me.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, that was on Miguel Nate.
Well, that's the only way he's going to get the touchdown.
Yeah. And we told him to do that.
It had to be, because this guy locked his legs around me.
Were you on the ground?
Yeah. No, I was standing up, and he locked, and I'm like, what? And then he's coming.
The only time I hit him the whole game was he ran kind of a sweep to the right, and I put a hit on him. The only problem was that he was out of bounds. Got 15 yards and first down, automatic first down.
I'll tell you, if the score was that, not too many guys hit too many guys.
What really got us is when we found out we were having hell stopping him.
Yeah.
But what happened is they had a great big quarterback.
Yeah.
And every time Kemp, and every time they needed a yard, they wouldn't hand it to him. Kemp would run a quarterback sneak, and he was so big, he just ran over everybody.
Yeah. We had a big fullback too. Towns, remember?
Towns, I remember Towns. Yeah. But the quarterback was the biggest player, wasn't he?
Towns was probably the biggest in the backfield. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, Gary was big.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's big.
We didn't have anybody that size.
No. And he played linebacker too.
Yeah, we didn't have anybody that size.
You were a linebacker?
No.
Looking back to that game almost 40 years ago, did you ever dream it was going to be such a legendary contest?
Not really. I really didn't have any idea, but only thing I knew is that we had to play against a great football player in Linus Berry. I knew that. I knew that we had our hands full playing against him.
What did it mean to you as a young man, as a young player in those days?
It meant a great deal because I wanted to play against him. You know, I used to go watch him play, and I used to dream about playing against him. You know, I figured we would play against each other that year because we both had the best football teams in our district. But he was having a great year, and I was too, so I was anxious to play against him that year. Right. San Antonio was not segregated.
Right.
Dallas, Fort Worth, and Houston.
San Antonio was integrated.
Yeah, San Antonio was integrated. Those other cities were segregated.
Yeah.
But he and I, and the schools in San Antonio, we didn't even know nothing about that.
Yeah. Well, it could have been that way so long.
Yeah, it's been that way when we started playing, so before we started playing.
Yeah.
Because see, in '59, Johnny Rowland,
Missouri,
he had played for Corpus Christi Miller.
Yeah.
They won a state championship in the '50s, like '59, '58. So that was before I was in junior high school. So we didn't know nothing about that kind of stuff when we were playing. He and I were buddies. We used to kid around the basketball because we played against each other in basketball, track, everything. We know nothing about that, so it was no big deal for us.
Yeah.
But you know, as you get older and you look back, you think about stuff like that.
Yeah, sure. Well, because of other issues.
When I came down here, see, Coach Yeoman had to work not on me, but he had to work on my mother. My mother did not want me to come here. See, she would get all excited when guys would come in and start talking about the Bible and about Christianity. And Dan Devine was real smart. That's all he talked about.
Quoting scripture?
Yeah, he was really smart. And She wanted, and he'll tell you, that's all she believed in, was church and her children.
The greatest game I've ever seen. I took my son out there that night. He was 7.